Always welcome.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Sheridan O'Brien.
Can you spell it?
Sheridan, O apostrophe B, capital Brien.
Not A-N.
A-N, not A-N.
And your first name is Sheridan, Sheridan.
Yep.
You don't have a middle name.
No, I don't want one.
You are very somebody.
I can still sign everything with my one name.
So do you have any nickname?
Seamus.
What is this Seamus? Could you spell it?
All Shamus.
What is this?
That means Seamus O'Brien was an Irishman.
Yeah.
And it seemed to tag along with the Navy boys. When we were all chiefs, there was 3 chiefs in the Navy that I met, and they were all called Seamus. We didn't know who was on the call, me, the chief writer, or the chief stoker. But we were all chief petty officers.
Uh-huh.
And they all called us all Seamus. But we never met on single ships. You never bumped into them except when you might have been ashore and you run into one.
It's like a song, Irish song.
Yes.
Can you sing it?
Yeah. Oh, Seamus O'Brien, why don't you come home? Oh, you don't know how happy I'll be. There is one darling wish that I wish you would. Come home and be happy with me.
Wow. I think I heard about this song, but I didn't know this Seamus.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what is your birthday?
26th of the 8th, 1928. I will be 96 in August.
Hold on. August 26th.
26th of the 8th month, 1928.
28.
Yeah.
So you are much older than your friend here.
Only 4.
Only 4.
Have a look at him.
So now you are 95?
I'm 95 for sure.
But you look great, sir.
Thank you.
You drink every day?
I drink red wine occasionally at night with my meal.
I see.
I don't drink beer.
Okay.
We both have, not teetotalers, because we have a beer on Anzac Day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
I was born in a beautiful town, or not a town, it's a port, Port Kembla.
Could you spell it?
P-O-R-T
Yeah.
K-E-M-B-L-A. Port Kembla.
Kembli.
That's right.
Is it? Yeah.
Kembli.
A.
A.
A. A. Kembla.
So, Kembla.
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 So tell me about your family when you were growing up, your parents and your siblings.
My parents, my mum come from Leicester in England. She came out to Australia when she was 17 by her aunts. I don't know why she came out here, but there was a bit of sad history in the family, I think, because she came out alone on a passenger ship. She didn't have anyone escorting her to Australia until the her auntie took her, and her auntie had a boarding house in Port Kembla, and she used to be her guardian, the old aunt from England. Yeah.
What about your father?
My father was an American, and he came from New York. There was a bit of a story about him that during the war, in the early years of World War II, the Americans were not allies. They were, he was in Australia, should I say, illegally, because he was a seaman, a merchant seaman. He was in the engine room. He was the engineer on the, you know, the... Anyway, he jumped ship in Port Kembla and met my mother in the boarding house. Because he worked in Australia, in Port Kembla, and even the local police sergeant said, as long as he behaves himself, he can, as far as I'm concerned, he can stay here. And World War II came along, and a taxi came up, said, pack your bag, you're going to England. And he said, what for? He said, the oil tankers, they want people like you to go over there and get in the fleet of oil tankers and take all the fuel across the Atlantic Ocean to stop Hitler from... had these U-boats in the Atlantic at the time, and luckily my father came back 6 years later from England. England was his port. Wherever they go there, I don't know where the port is there, but I think it's where the Navy was at, where they used to tie up. But when he came back, he wasn't the same father that I knew before he went away. He got very quiet, would not talk very much about the war at all. He went into a sort of a, I want to be on my own. He used to go to bed during the day quite a lot, but he was still a hard-working man and a reasonably good father. He was a firm but fair.
Okay. What about your brothers and sisters when you were growing up?
I had a brother and a sister.
Uh-huh.
And
were you eldest?
my brother was the eldest. I'm next, and then my sister was the young one. We used to have to look after her.
And what about the school you went through? What school?
I went to Port Kembla Public School in the junior school. Port Kembla School, public school.
Yeah.
I then went to a little school out about a mile and a half away called Primby Public School. Little wooden building.
P?
Primby, P-R-I-M-B-E-E.
High school. Primby High School.
B. No, it wasn't a high school, just a junior students up to year 6.
Oh, up to year 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when I was 11-year-old, wait a minute, what was it? They asked us, when we finished 6th class, they said, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to high school or would you like to go to technical college? I went to technical college. I chose technical college because I was interested in the work that I was going to be doing, and that's learning how to use my hands on tools.
Good.
So the technical college served me very well during my life.
What year was it?
Well, I'll have to work out a sum, won't we? I was born in 28, and say 5. I was 5-year-old which would have took me to where?
Yeah.
28. That would have been what's 5 under 28?
About 14, I'd say. 12.
11, I think I was when I finished public school. Yeah. Yeah. And then I went to Wollongong Technical College.
Oh.
And I advise every young boy not to go and learn French and German and all that sort of thing, and music recitals and all that. Go and learn how to do things with your hands.
So was that before the Korean War or after?
Yes.
Before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my 3 years didn't quite finish the 3rd year, but I got picked up by the truant officer because I should have been at school, but I wasn't.
What were you doing? Come on.
Nothing. just hanging around,
Yeah.
hanging out, as they say.
Yeah.
And he told my mother that you better get him down to school. Well, when I joined the school at Rosebery, we had moved to Sydney too. We didn't live anymore down in Primbee. We moved to Sydney during the war because my mother worked in a munitions factory on a lathe making shells for the guns. Anyway, let me catch up with the times. I went down to the school and the headmaster interviewed me and he said, "But you were in third year, we've only got first year here." So
Yeah.
he said, "But I've got a job for you." Yeah, he said, "You went to technical college. Do you know how to use tools?" I said, "I certainly do. I love it." And he said, "Good." And what I was the handyman in the school. I went around fixing things for a month because I had 1 month to go to school.
Yep.
And that's it. And then during the war, there was a situation called man something. What was it? Manpower. Every person over at the age of 15 had to register with Manpower.
What is that?
That is, they will put you straight into a job that is required for the war effort. So Slazenger's were making aeroplane propellers, so I was supposed to go to Slazenger's, but I'd already, the headmaster at the school sent me to where they were making waterproof plywood to make bomb scows or munition scows that they tow along. They get a tug and they tow them along with all the ammunition in them. So they accepted not to send me to make the propellers, but to go to the waterproof plywood. Yeah.
So, you were working when the Korean War broke out?
No, I'll tell you that then.
What were you
I
doing?
stayed around there with my mum in Botany Road, Alexandria, for a short time.
Yeah.
And then after, when the World War II finished, we went back down to our old home in Primbee. And me and my knockabout mate, we were going to join the British Commonwealth Occupation Forces. He'd go to the army. But I'm glad I didn't now because the Australian government treated them very badly. They didn't give them any credit for going to Japan on the occupation forces.
Yep.
Now, after Japan was defeated, right? They sent Australians, New Zealanders and Yanks, everything over there to peacekeeping. Yeah. So, where are we now? We're there. Then I saw an ad in the paper and it said, "Join the Navy." The only thing was that they wanted you to join for 12 years. But I didn't mind that. I had an idea that seeing my father spent most of his life as a seaman, that I would like to do the same thing. So later on I got the call up and I went down to Victoria and did my recruit training. I was just on 19 at the time. And after recruit training, I went to a ship called, a destroyer called the Arunta. And it was just the end of the war because they still had, that was in 1947 when I was called up. 1947. Yeah. And later on, 47, 3 years later was 1950, wasn't it? 1950, the war started in Korea.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of Australian ships went there to join the US, the United States 7th Fleet.
Yep.
And the US 7th Fleet issued issued us with a reward
Yeah.
for being part of the 7th Fleet, but our government, once again, no, wouldn't accept it. Yeah. I'll tell you the other worst one, though,
But-
later on.
You went to many different technical college, right?
Yeah.
And you were well educated. Did you know anything about Korea at the time?
Not really, no. Not
Be
until I
honest.
got the call up. I was on shore on going with my wife and my little son in the stroller down to the park to hear the spruikers. You know, them ones that talk in the park.
Yeah.
Tell you the world is coming to an end. Anyway, we were walking down there, and one of my fellas that I know said, "Hey, you know where you're going?" I said, "Yeah, down to see the speakers." And he said, "No, you're not. You're going to Korea." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "They've got your name." He said, "You're going with me and the rest of the crew on the Kalgoa." It was a frigate, a Navy frigate, an anti-submarine frigate. Now, at the time, I was just about to be a leading seaman. I got the leading seaman, done that, and I was a sonar man, which was called in those days ASDIC, listening for submarines.
I see.
Yeah.
Sonar.
Sonar man, yeah. Anyway, I joined that ship, and they
What's the name of ship?
Kalgoa.
Can you spell it?
Culgoa.
Kalgoa.
Kalgo.
Kalgo.
Goa.
Yeah, Kalgoa
It's a name of a river.
River. And what kind of ship? Was it
Frigate.
frigate?
Yeah. Anti-submarine frigate.
Okay. How many people were there?
In a crew, I'd say about 220.
But
And we munitioned, stored up and everything, and off we went. I don't know where I think our first stop was Japan. We went to Kuri in Japan.
So from Australia, where did you leave from?
They're from Garden Island.
What?
Garden Island, Sydney.
Yeah,
Sydney, Garden Island is the Navy base.
yeah.
And we left there, and I think our first stop was Japan.
But when did you leave?
We were there I did about a year, same as Ron.
So you left Sydney in March of 1953, right?
Yeah.
So there was almost war support, war was nearing to the end,
It was still going there, but
right?
yeah.
And so you went to Japan and then went to where?
Well, once you get in you join the fleet, and then then go to my skipper, my captain went to a meeting, and then they told them when they were going to go over and relieve one ship over there, let it go back to Japan, and then we go over there. And that's what the story was then. They'd go over, and then they'd go to Japan, refuel, more ammunition, and go back. Yeah.
So where did you actually operate? In
All around the coastline.
east and west
Yeah,
and south,
yeah.
everywhere?
Yeah, all around the coastline of South Korea. Yep.
What?
We were on the go all the time. You can't stop the warship in the middle of nowhere like that. You keep going, and keep your ASDIC going. Keep that going, listening, and the Americans or the Australian Army leaders would ask for bombardment. So our big guns were 4-inch mountings. we would fire hell all day and all night, dropping these shells and that, so that I'd let Ronnie here go back or go forward. Yeah. That was the idea of it. Pound them with all this high velocity stuff, and then the Chinese would retreat because they don't want to be in under fire of those things when they go off. At night time we used to use star shells. They light up. They light up all the ground and everything. So these fellas, who were probably hearing them going over, whistling over, and boom, you know, the big boom, and they loved it.
Yeah.
Didn't you, Ron?
Yeah.
They loved it because they could either go back, take cover, or what.
Yeah.
So that little part, I know it wasn't a long time, but we were kept very busy. And
Do you remember particular night that your ship, frigate Colgua, actually bombed somewhere?
Oh, I had phones on my ears, but I could still, the whole ship used to shake when they fired.
Yeah.
Them big guns, you know.
So you were inside, you were
I was inside a
listening
little
to sonar,
compartment
right?
up on the bridge.
Yeah.
Underneath there, and the captain could hear my voice, and if I sends out a transmission, bing, bing, comes back to the ship.
Yeah.
It's hit something under the water. But they were always frightened that the Chinese would have had submarines.
Did you find any submarine at the time? No, nothing.
Never got a contact.
No.
No. And we had everything ready there, depth charges and all that, all ready to I was hoping, because I had a station, while I wasn't on the set, I had a station where I used to release the depth charges over the side.
So it was fortunate that there was no enemy submarine, but you must have been bored, right?
Not bored. There was always plenty to do.
Like
Because when action stations go, you don't go and lay down anywhere or have a rest or anything. What you do is you go to your action station and you stay put, right there. So when we withdraw, we might go away from the coast a bit, and he'd say, righto, go back to your ordinary life, 4 on, 4 off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very interesting to me. I think it made me, in my career in the Navy, I went to Korea, I went to Borneo, what was the other place?
Show that to me. Show that to the camera.
Oh,
What is that?
that's my certificate of service.
Show it to camera. Yes.
Move your fingers.
So permanent Navy certificate of service.
Yeah,
And Sheridan
22 years.
O'Brien, right? Yeah. I am zooming in. Yes. Chief Petty Officer. Alrighty. Very good.
That's what I finished up as, a Chief Petty Officer.
Got it.
Now I'm a warrant officer because they've changed over to be equal with the Army and the Navy and the Air Force. All the Chief Petty Officers were made warrant officers. Warrant Officer 2, not Warrant Officer 1 is the big boy.
What was your unit actually?
Well, we were part of the 7th Fleet,
But
part of the American 7th Fleet.
yeah, I know. But in Australian unit Navy, what was your unit in the Australian Navy?
Well, you were just a seagoing in your warships, that's all.
That's all.
Yeah.
What was your rank at the time?
Well, I started off as an ordinary seaman, and you work your way up through the ranks, and I ended up a Chief Petty Officer.
No, when you were in Korea.
In Korea, I was a leading seaman.
Leading?
Yeah, have a look at that photo, Ron, up there. Show
All right,
him
it's
that
okay.
photo.
It's okay.
There's
What
a
the-
photo up there of me as a leading seaman.
Doesn't matter.
So,
He's got it.
were there any enemy ships that actually threatening your ship?
No, never saw
They never had ships.
I think we saw a rock ship and a bit of their airplanes, a bit of their planes.
They didn't have anything, the rocks.
No, didn't have very little at all. Might have been a fishing boat or something, I don't know.
Did enemy airplane attack you?
No,
Never.
we had an explosion on board, but that was in Japan.
Why? What was the
The
cause
hot water system runs on diesel. No, I'll tell you what, it nearly blew. Three fellas went back off the crew.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, one had his legs bloody amputated. And
So, people wounded not because of the war battle, but because of the safety issues.
we had it easy. He had it hard,
Yeah, right.
right? We had it easy. We had the protection of all those big cannons on board and all that, depth charges and anti-submarine stuff and all that, right? We had it easy.
Any dangerous moment that you might have been wounded or killed?
I doubt it because I think we were in a very safe position a mile off the shore. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and you
Well,
never...
we didn't know really that we could have contacted other ships. I don't think the Chinese had anything afloat, did they, Ron? No,
Nothing.
Nothing.
no,
No. Rocks had nothing.
no. The Rocks now have built their navy up. They've built their navy up good because I have visited them when they've come in.
So you left Korea November 53?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's when we had the United Nations medals and all that sort of thing. That's nothing. I just do. Anyone that's patriotic doesn't give two hoots about medals and all that stuff. You're fighting for your country. That's the way I put it. My father used to say that. He used to say, "You're entitled to medals, you know, Pop." And he said, "I don't want them." He said, "I fight for my country. I'm in Australia and I'll fight for Australia."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was life inside of the frigate? Where did you sleep? What did you eat? What was the routine? Tell me.
It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. We could still have a shower, like Ron couldn't. We could have, we had our meals. They were all right. Even when we were at action stations, you could still, they bring food around for you. Just like they did for Ron. We did pretty well.
Hot meal.
Hot meal, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, in a little Dixie, you know.
What kind of menu? Hamburger?
Oh, no, that's American. The Yanks had all that.
Okay.
Oh boy, did they ever. Do you know, when we used to have a Canadian ship alongside us called the Athabascan, and they invited us over to it was a Yankee one, that's right, the Athabascan, and they invited us over to the movies. So we went over there on board them, and there's the stewards coming around serving donuts and coffee. We never heard of that in a million years.
You didn't have a movie theater there in frigate?
We got a movie, yeah.
You had a movie, right?
No, not on board us. We had to go onto them.
But not in the ship.
No.
Americans, they watch
Yeah,
the
oh
movie.
yeah, they have everything laid on, mate. Oh, God. They
Yeah.
look after their servicemen very well. Mm-hmm. I mean to say, how they use them is not too nice. Mm-hmm. Like when all the beach landings and that during World War II and that, they just got wiped out continually. Whereas the British took the easy beach and they went ashore they went to Omaha. The Yanks went to Omaha and got belted out with all the machine guns on the.
So, after you are done with your service from Korea, you came back and you continued to serve in the Navy. But as you mentioned in the beginning, that Korean War known as Forgotten War.
Right.
Why?
Well, because they said a few of the old timers who, I didn't blame them for saying this, they said, that wasn't a war. That was only a bloody skirmish, you know. You know, they had a little bit of pride in the fact that they went to a real big war, you know. Whereas we only went to help our friends, the Koreans, which they are very good friends of ours. Especially us too. Yeah.
So why it's been known as Forgotten War?
Well, because our government would only recognise 3 years. It wasn't, it was 5 years. It's now known as 5, not 3. All those fellas that stayed there after the ceasefire, and that war is not really, no one has won that war yet. It's left in abeyance as a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah.
You still have your border there with China, and they're all looking at one another, and that's all so far. And let's hope that that's all they do, is look at one another. And that was, some of our troops were still over there for the extra 2 years.
So, as
someone would have relieved Ronnie's platoon, or his group, his group would be replaced by another group from Australia, wasn't it, Ron?
Yeah. So, now have you been back to Korea?
No, I was offered one, but I'm under the guise of my doctor. I'm not allowed to fly.
Why not?
Blood pressure.
Oh, I see.
I have a lot of trouble with my blood.
So you cannot go even though I recommend you?
I cannot go anywhere where I've got to fly.
Okay. So your friend Ron will go by himself?
Well,
unless my wife wants to go.
It should take his wife.
Yeah.
She'd love it over there. It's a beautiful country now, and as he told you, you would enjoy it, Ron, because I'll tell you, Smithy and his mate went over there, and they had a wonderful time there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
we had a group here. There was one man, Simmons, I think his name. Don't worry about his name. And he used to gather up a whole heap of blokes, and they'd all go over there together.
Yeah.
To South Korea. Yeah. And
So
they'd look after them like they were their babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Seamus, what do you think about the Korean War in your life? Why did it happen to you?
I think anyone who was downtrodden like they were innocent people going about their normal way of life, and they grew their vegetable, their crop and all that sort of thing, and they lived their own life, and all of a sudden they were going to be overrun by these people up here. So when they called on the countries, different countries, to go over there and help you, help not you, but your people, all your people of South Korea, we all volunteered straight away. Everyone did. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We had a lot of our Air Force fellas over there. The Air Force, Army and Navy, we all joined together. Yeah. And different countries all supplied there.
So are you proud to be a Korean War veteran?
I am very proud, and I'll tell you one thing I like about it.
Yeah.
Was that I was very pleased to do the little bit I did in the time we went there, and I thought it was worthwhile. I know we lost three seamen on board through that explosion, but I thought when that explosion went off, it used to be a fire fueled with dieseline, and that fire went onto the bricks, and they had the element in there to have the heat the water up for the showers, right? We didn't have showers, we only had bowls, hot water, throw it over you. And when it went off, it busted the whole side of our ship out. And everybody thought we'd been hit with a bomb or something like that at the time, until we found out what it was. And they had to virtually cut all the steel away to get this fella out that lost his legs. Chopped his legs off.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only... Oh, you would have got coughs, colds and all that sort of thing. And but, you know, the night time, they had the big overcoats too. That Ronnie didn't have them. We had those great big overcoats that kept us warm.
So, Seamus, what would you say to the people knowing Korean War as forgotten war?
I would say forget about it, because we will never forget about it. The people who went there to help the Koreans, Army, Navy and Air Force, they did it because they could see that they were in trouble and they weren't going to let them be run over by the Chinese. The Chinese are, in my opinion, are a warlike nation now. They've built themselves up to become a warlike, threatening people.
Yes.
Yeah, which I don't like that. I don't think there should be any wars, but here we have one on our doorstep right now when this things broke out with the West Bank and all this. They've been doing that for donkey's years over that lot there. But I'm quite pleased that I was in the armed forces and I went there. That was the start of my career, and my career went on to Malaya and the Malayan thing, and all around the Far East we went. Yeah.
Any other message you want to share to Korean people about your service?
Korean people, from my point of view, I believe that if I was able enough and they were in trouble again, I would be the first one to go and enlist and go back to help them.
You're not kidding me.
No, I'm not. So would he.
Wow.
Wouldn't you, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. You had it enough.
Give me a good automatic rifle and that's it, I would go back there.
But you have
I'd have to go by sea.
Exactly, because you have a blood pressure. Wow, that's amazing to hear that you already served for Korean people enough, but you are willing to go again.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yes, I would. I certainly would. Because we have become part of the Korean family.
Yeah.
Over the years now, we have never been forgotten. Never mind a forgotten war, that's rubbish. That's only stupid politicians and stupid bloody ex-army blokes who reckon, oh, that wasn't a war, that was a... Same with when the Vietnam veterans came back from Vietnam,
Yep.
They threw red paint all over them. You've got some, in this country now, Australia, we've got some wackos here in this country now, and they don't even give them much bloody punishment either. I'd give them punishment, they'd have a huge rock as big as my backyard and a big hammer. I want that for road fill, so start now. No, they have been, probably over the years, I think me and Ron have attended so many requests to go to their different ceremonies. The Shield Church in Concord was one of them, which was delightful. I never saw anything better, did we, Ron?
No.
It was brilliant. We went to a musical one. We've gone to, what was our last one, Ron? At Strathfield. We went to the Strathfield one, and we went to the one where they brought in the new president of the Korean War Veterans RSL. That's good. We were going to join it. We were talking about joining the Korean RSL.
Great. Great.
So
Great.
we're part of you now. I would go in the Rock Navy and he'd go in the what do they call their army?
Rock Army.
Rock Army.
Yeah, the Rock Army.
They were the
So the Korean Navy cadets visiting Australia.
They were brilliant.
Tell me about it.
Well, Ron couldn't go. He had suffered a bit of illness at the time. Anyway, I hired myself a hire car because I couldn't go in the train. I didn't like going in the train there because it was an evening reception on board the major ship. There was 2 ships came, Garden Island. Now, I went in there and there was another army fella and me. We were both guests of the ship's company. They call the ship's company is the whole crew. They invited us to go on board. Well, the first 2 up there, this side is the admiral and this side is the captain of the gangway. So I come up the gangway, permission to come aboard, sir. Hey, permission granted, come on, Jim, come on. And then I had an interpreter and a guide. Where is the head? The head is the toilet, the head. Yeah? And they were beautifully dressed and they were immaculate. And I said, hey, that fellow there is a commander. He said, no, he's not a commander. He's only a senior cadet. Had the 3 stripes.
So at the time there was no Korean Navy whatsoever.
No,
but now
that's what Ronnie said. He never saw any Navy ships there, did you, Ron? They had small craft there.
Yeah,
didn't they?
small crowd. There was a small crowd, and there was a ship, Korean, but it was minimal. And now Korean military is number 6 in the world.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
built right up.
Can you believe that?
You need it.
Huh?
You need that force there
Right.
to maintain that force, because Mr. Chinese over there, he's got his eye on you now because you're a right plum. You got everything, you built everything up, and now he's going to say, hey, I'll have that. Yeah. No.
And also China is threatening Australia too.
Yeah.
I know. And you know what they're doing? They're doing it silently. They're building 30 stories, buildings right here in Liverpool. You can't buy them, you rent them. And the money goes back to China.
Yeah. So that's the problem, because many of enemies that Ron fought was Chinese, not North Korean. So that was the Korean War was not just between North and South.
Yeah.
It was between UN forces and China and Russia.
Yeah.
And we still have the problem, same problem over again.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, they've got to be vigilant. That's the only thing you can be.
Exactly.
Keep your armed forces bloody built up.
That's why Australia's building up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to.
We've got to build
You've
up
got
to,
to-
because
you've
they
got to
could
have
walk
the
into
rockets.
here. They could walk into Sydney Harbour and say, this is ours.
Now Korean defense industry is selling tanks and everything to Australia. Can you believe that?
Well, I can. Do you know what I've got in my garage? A Hyundai.
Good for
what do
you.
you call them? Not a station wagon, a hatchback.
Hatchback.
Yeah, I got the i30 hatchback.
That's a Hyundai?
Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Yeah, Hyundai. That's a Korean car.
How do you say it? Hyundai.
Yes.
Well, your president said any Australian that buy a South Korean motor car, give them dealers discount.
Excellent.
And I got quite a lot.
Yeah, but
That
it
was
was
28,000. I got it for
veterans.
21.
Yeah, but only veterans.
Only veterans
Yep.
of the Korean
Not
War.
everybody.
Yeah. Any
Great.
one of us
Yep.
that buys a Korean car gets the big discount.
The Korean government, South Korea,
Yeah.
looks after us better than what our government does.
Oh,
It does.
They're hopeless. Our mob they've just brought in a new Labor Party, and the Minister for Veterans Affairs will not listen to anybody. I am the old God Almighty. Now, I've been trying to contact him over, in 1952, I was on a ship called the Macquarie, and they let off on Montebello Islands, over the west of Australia, an atom bomb. And we had a pair of shorts on and leather sandals. And we were victims of the fallout of that bomb. And yet they won't pay any compensation or anything. No.
all right. Seamus, it was very nice to meeting you, and thank you for inviting me to your home
Yeah.
and introducing your good friend Ron together so that we could have an interview today.
Yeah,
Any other
anytime.
any other message about Korean War that you served?
Well, I'm sorry that a few of our troops didn't come back. And me and Ron, everywhere we go, if we go to a ceremony over in one of the clubs here on Anzac Day or Remembrance Day, we always put a wreath on for the missing in action soldiers in Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same, I got made a cenotaph out of sandstone with a plaque on it. It's
All
down
the
in the
same.
park,
All
down
the
there
same.
now.
Action.
Yeah, and we go there first, and we put our Korean wreath on there, and then we go over to another place, and we do it again over there, in there.
Got it.
Yeah, we will never forget them. We're part of the family because the Consul General here knows us personally, and Gigi, I call her, that she's the second in charge over in Sydney.
Yeah,
They are very
even
nice
Georgie.
people. Very nice.
I'm going to have a dinner with Consul General Lee tomorrow.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke, isn't he? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a good bloke. They've always been good, haven't they?
Oh,
Every one of
terrific
them.
to us.
I think they get 2 years, don't they?
Yeah.
They
So-
come out for 2 and then go back. Yeah.
I'll let him know that I did interview two of you, okay?
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seamus, thank you again. But why don't we end this interview with your song, Seamus?
Oh, Seamus O'Brien, why don't you come home? Oh, you don't know how happy I'll be. There is one darling wish that you would come home and be happy with me.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for your fight for Korean people.
And thank you for the Korean people to look after us.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.